Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, September 13, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems that we can keep everyone safe, especially the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren. And subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look here at this post from Ben No. If you don't know who this person is, he's actually a meteorologist at the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research in New Zealand. And from time to time, he makes some accurate posts about what's to come regarding the Atlantic hurricane season. I actually remember a time he posted in May about what would happen in June and July, and one of these posts highlighted the rising air that would have brought us burial, and he just made a similar post that just came out at 6:33 a.m. on September 12, stating here, what's up next for the Atlantic after Francine? Nothing major is expected to affect land, at least not right away. In the days ahead, Tropical Depression 7 is forecast to strengthen into Kirk in the open waters of the Atlantic. I guess that should say Gordon, not Kirk. This must have been an error because we're not that far in the name list as yet. So Gordon, of course, would have been Tropical Depression 7, and that's definitely the case. We had Tropical Depression 7 yesterday. Now it's Tropical Storm Gordon according to the latest from the U.S. National Hurricane Center. So I guess he made an error right here with the name. And there's a chance that a tropical disturbance may form near the Carolinas early next week. And this is the system that he's referring to near North and South Carolina, as the Hurricane Center now has given it a medium chance of development. It was a code yellow with a low chance of development yesterday. Now it has a medium chance, a 40% chance of development. And now he states in late September and early October, convective forcing in the green colors is forecast to return to the Atlantic. This may come with another flurry of activity, particularly as La Nina-like patterns gradually strengthen across the tropical Pacific. Hurricane season still has a long way to go. And he highlighted this map right here. So we're going to be looking at the timestamps. We see the timestamp right here. Let's get it in the center of our screen here. The timestamp is right here. So we're looking at the time period from September 13 to September 20. And we can see all the sinking air represented by the oranges and the greens within those oranges. And we can see the rising air represented by the blue colors and the darker blues within that. Rising air is what we expect when we're looking at tropical waves. Well, when we're looking at lots of thunderstorms taking place, definitely tropical waves becoming tropical depressions, tropical storms, and hurricanes easier. But when we have a lot of oranges, a lot of greens within those oranges as well, we have a lot of sinking air. So these tropical waves, these thunderstorms are going to be struggling to develop. But what he's saying is that for the next couple of days, September 13 to September 20, the sinking air should be across our neck of the woods, the Caribbean, the Eastern Pacific to the Central Pacific, while the rising air is going to be across portions of the Eastern Main Development Region, Africa, and the Western Pacific, especially where we see those darker blues. As we go out in time, we start to see a flip, because look at this, by September 20 to September 27, we start to see more blues across the Eastern Pacific and maybe across the Western Caribbean, as well as across Africa still, and we see it right here on the central to the eastern portion of Africa as well. And as we continue to go out in time, this is valid for September 27 to October 4, and look at how much rising air we're starting to see, even some darker blues across the Eastern Pacific into the Caribbean, the Western, now Central Caribbean, and even majority of the Atlantic getting in on those blue colors. And then by the end of the run, by October 4 to October 12, we start to see that the majority of the rising air is still across the Caribbean and the Atlantic, as well as Africa, spilling into the Indian Ocean as well. And then as we can see, that GIF starts to go over again, but it's just a sign that things are going to be ramping up as we wrap up the month of September and head into early August. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens. We know how these things go. It is not over until it's over, and it's not going to be over until the end of November. As a matter of fact, we can even get storms outside of November. So we just need to pay close attention to the tropics, especially considering that there's a La Nina in place, and considering that the waters are still very warm across the Atlantic as we speak. If we take a look here at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can see Francine now inland, definitely weakened significantly, now packing maximum sustained winds of 15 miles per hour, and it is moving towards the southeast, so it has now changed direction. It was moving more northward for the past couple of days. Now it has shifted. Now it's in the upper level currents that the United States has. Now it's pushing back to the southeast, and that movement is at 6 miles per hour. But our focus is on these other systems. First, that system that we stated earlier that has a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. It has a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours. That's the next 2 days. And if we take a look here at what the Hurricane Center is saying, let's read what it says. It states here, a non-tropical area of low pressure could form this weekend along a frontal boundary and gradually acquire subtropical or tropical characteristics a few hundred miles off the southeastern U.S. coastline. Thereafter, a subtropical or tropical depression could form early next week, while the system moves generally northwestward toward the coast. Additional information on this system can be found in products issued by your local National Weather Service forecast office and high seas forecasts issued by the National Weather Service. And we're going to be taking a look at what the Euro and the GFS models are showing shortly regarding this system, because we know we have friends and relatives from Jamaica who reside in these states, whether it be Georgia, South Carolina, and the North Carolina, even Virginia, and those areas could be affected by what's to come of this system. We can also see Tropical Storm Gordon right here, and if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. We have X Francine right here, still spinning away across the central or south central US. You can see the clouds associated with the system that the Hurricane Center is watching right there off the southeast coast of the United States for a medium chance of development. And we can see what is now Tropical Storm Gordon right here across the northern portion of the main development region. We can definitely see the air wrapping around it to show that most of the convection is definitely on the central to the eastern portions of the system. And if we take a look back at the statistics regarding this system from the Hurricane Center, we can see right here that the system is right now packing maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. It is moving towards the west-northwest at 10 miles per hour. And we can see that it is a storm right now, still expected to be a storm all the way up to 2 p.m. on Saturday. Then we see that it's going to weaken back to a D, that's back to a tropical depression as we head into Monday. Then by around, let's say, early Wednesday into Wednesday afternoon, it should re-strengthen back to a tropical storm. And we see the Hurricane Center has it pushing westward and then possibly pushing northward. But the cone of uncertainty is a bit broad. So who knows, it might just veer off and go more south or more west instead of north. We just have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt, because the further out in time we go, the more uncertain the forecast is. But if we take a look at what the Euro and the GFS supercomputer models are showing regarding moisture across our area, we see Jamaica right here. We're going to be looking for the moisture associated with these numerous tropical waves. We're going to also be looking at the moisture associated with that system that the Hurricane Center is watching. And we're going to be seeing if that other system, Tropical Storm Gordon, is going to be coming in play somewhere around here. So we're going to be focusing our attention on the timestamp right here at the top. We're just going to be going out to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days. And we're going to start with the Euro, then we're going to be looking at the GFS. So as we go out in time, we see the system right there of the southeastern United States coast trying to consolidate, trying to wrap up. We see the isobars, we see that it's trying to do some kind of low pressure kind of thing. Yesterday, the Euro had it pushing into South Carolina more than North Carolina. Now the Euro is trying to cave to what the GFS was showing yesterday. GFS had it slamming into North Carolina. Now the Euro is coming on board. Now we have the consensus, so most of the moisture is going to start coming into portions of North Carolina. This is why we have to take these forecast models with a grain of salt, because yesterday they'll show something completely different and then the next day they'll show another thing. And by the way, I hope that you guys notice the moisture coming into portions of the Caribbean throughout the week as well. And as we continue to go out in time, we see the system definitely go pushing inland into North Carolina. And as we continue to go to the next 168 hours, we can see, well, we passed it. There we have it. Not much taking place across the Atlantic at all. If we take a look here at what the GFS is showing regarding these systems, we can see a much stronger system heading into North Carolina. More isobars around the ear of low pressure, even more moisture with the dark greens, yellows, oranges, reds that represent all the way up to 5 to 6, all the way up to what, maybe 16 inches of rainfall. That's some ridiculous rainfall, as a matter of fact. As we continue to go out in time, we see what I believe could be Tropical Storm Gordon right here to the northeast of the Caribbean. And as we stop right here at the 168 hours, we see what we're seeing here. Not much different with what both the Euro and the GFS models are showing. Euro though, showing a lot of moisture across the western and southwestern Caribbean. Not so much on the GFS. Hold on. Okay, so it's the GFS that's showing a lot of moisture across the western Caribbean and the southwestern Caribbean. And maybe what's left of Tropical Storm Gordon right here off screen. Euro not showing much of anything across the western Caribbean at that time. More so across the southwestern Caribbean. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what takes place. If we take a look here at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can still see that we have that stalled out front still plaguing the southeastern United States from the Gulf of Mexico across Florida into the southwestern Atlantic, stretching all the way up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. We can see that we have a trough right here to the west of Jamaica, as represented by these broken orange lines. We can see that we have a tropical wave across the Dominican Republic. Yesterday we had a tropical wave across Haiti, and I guess it dissipated or whatever the case may be, or maybe it brought that rainfall to Jamaica, who knows. Either way, now we have another tropical wave that has popped up right there, and it's affecting portion of the Dominican Republic as we speak, and it could definitely affect Jamaica as it pushes westward on Saturday. We can also see another tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean. And we can see Tropical Storm Gordon right here, as represented by the tropical storm symbol. If we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, as mentioned, we have X from Francine right there, Gordon right there, the system that the Hurricane Center is watching right there. Clouds associated with the tropical wave that's slashing portions of the Dominican Republic as we speak. And clouds associated with the tropical wave, not much, but it's somewhere there near the Eastern Caribbean. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, September 13, 2024. It was stated that parts of eastern Jamaica would have received some nighttime rainfall on Thursday night into the morning of Friday, September 13, just for eastern Jamaica for the morning. Then it would affect parts of eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica during Friday afternoon. And just for reference, we know eastern parishes, you know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, you know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, you know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? As early as 5:30 a.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted, and they highlighted the rainfall that was affecting portions of eastern Jamaica, as we can see as represented by the greens and the yellows within those greens that we can see by the key on the right. Even although it's in Spanish, it represents anywhere from some light to moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall in the yellows, and we definitely have that, especially across eastern St. Thomas in the morning, just to confirm the rainfall for the morning hours. Then, as the day progressed during the afternoon, near 3:05 p.m., the infrared close-up satellite image of Jamaica was posted, and it highlighted the thunderstorm activity that was taking place. We can see the high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, and the blacks and the grays and the whites within all of that. That represents the deep convection associated with the cumulonimbus clouds from these thunderstorms, and we can see the sparkling white. Let's look at the abundance of lightning that took place in and around sections of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Northern Clarendon, Southern Trelawney, sections of St. James, Southwestern St. Anne, sections of St. Catherine, even portions of Kingston and St. Andrew got in on some of the activity today. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the island before the sun went down, we can see that yes, we indeed had some of this cloud cover across portions of some eastern parishes, but it was more so western Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, and we see that most of it was mainly across central and western Jamaica. And we can also see that the high cold cloud tops were still being blown up towards the southwest. That has been the pattern all week, with all of these thunderstorms, cloud tops being blown off towards the southwest. And even as the day was wrapping up and we were losing the sunlight, we were still getting in on some thunderstorm and some cloud cover across portions of central Jamaica. And we can see it all even better on the latest infrared satellite images of Jamaica. The thunderstorms that were still left back right here across portions of central Jamaica. And we definitely have some confirmation right here from one of our followers on our Instagram page, Lorraine5412, stating, yes, lovely shower now on Red Hills Road. And even if we take a look here at the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, highlighting the flat bridge at around 2:22 p.m. By the way, keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. They also show live streams of the Kingston Harbor, the panoramic city view, halfway tree, Barbican, and even Crossroads. So subscribe if you'd like to see more of that. We can definitely see the rainfall that Flatbridge was receiving at the time. We can see the vehicles pushing by with their windshield wipers on. Definitely had some rainfall for sure, and even as the afternoon progressed, the waters were starting to begin to rush, because look at that. And definitely see the water stronger than it was when I showed the earlier image. Look at the water rushing. Not as bad as it was, I believe, the day before yesterday when the water is all the way up closer to the road. But we can see that it only takes a little rainfall for these rivers to be in spate for sure. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite image of Jamaica that just came out at 35 minutes past the hour. So this just came out at 7:35 p.m. considering that it is 7:50 p.m. right now. We can see the cloud covered thunderstorms right there off to the southwest of the island. Some clouds right there to the west and southwest of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. We can also see some clouds right here to the east and southeast of St. Thomas. Some clouds right here to the north of the island. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite, well, the latest Cuban Doppler radar image, that is. Let's reload these images so that we have the very latest, because right now it's showing the image as of 8:10, I believe. That was about 7:10 p.m. So more than likely, considering that it is 7:51 p.m., it should have an image maybe closer to that time period by now, 8:30. Alright, so it looks like 8:30 is the latest image from the Cuban radar site. And we can kind of make out all of what we just saw. The rainfall right there to the southeast of Jamaica associated with the clouds that we just saw. We can also make out the rainfall to the west and southwest of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth right there. Some of this rainfall still affecting portions of western Westmoreland, maybe a section of Negrilla as we speak. You can also see some of that rainfall to the north of the island too. If we take a look here at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban military radar, we can see that we still have some rainfall across southeastern Cuba. That has been the order of the week, with the high cold cloud tops from Cuba being blown off to the south towards Jamaica. You can also see some rainfall right there between Haiti and Jamaica. And if we take a look here at the Cayman radar, we can see that rainfall that we just saw on the Cuban Doppler radar to the west of the island. We can also see some of this rainfall off to the south of the Cayman Islands. And if we take a look here at the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing Crossroads, not seeing much of anything, even although portions of the corporate area Crossroads definitely had some isolated showers today. I was in Kingston. I got some light rainfall before I left work. But as of right now, we can see that it's definitely a cool night. A fair night at that. Not necessarily cool. Some persons might be burning up as we speak in the heat. But not expecting much in the way of rainfall at all tonight in the corporate area. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can tell we have 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some orange colors. So it was more so yellow colors that represent at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures for the past 2 days. Now the temperatures are going back up. So tomorrow is definitely going to be hot again. Temperatures rising all the way up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, as we can see by those orange colors. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of September across Jamaica are close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most, given the 2 degrees Celsius rise in temperature for tomorrow. So that's the forecast for Jamaica's temperature, 32 to 34 for Saturday, September 14. So you know the drill. Tips to beat the heat. Try to ensure that you limit the non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. If you're going to be out, try to wear a cap or a hat, whatever the case may be. If you're going out, dress down, wear light clothing, and use sunscreen. And I cannot stress this enough. Stay hydrated by drinking lots of water. Not necessarily the sugary drinks or sugary drinks making you sick. Drink water instead. You can never go wrong with water. The body needs it. Remember, there's a huge percentage of our body that's made up of water, not necessarily sugary drinks. If we take a look here at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we can see that majority of the Atlantic's western portion is still in the clear. Don't see much in the way of Saharan dust. We do see some slight Saharan dust right here across portions of the northern main development region stretching all the way to Africa. And we can see that Gordon is still going to be wrapped up somewhere in here within all of that dry air, which explains why it could possibly weaken, just like what the Hurricane Center states, back to a tropical depression. Is going to be wrapping in all of that dry air for sure. If we take a look here at the wave forecast for tomorrow, it makes sense that wherever Gordon is, not to mention the system that the Hurricane Center is watching, those are where we have the highest wave heights in the purples. That represents anywhere from 2 to maybe all the way up to 5 or 6 meter wave heights. While the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean to the Central and Eastern Caribbean should be getting on those lighter shades of blues that represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1, maybe close to 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong across the Gulf of Mexico, Central and Eastern Caribbean, as we see these colors that represent anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15, maybe gusting to 20 knot winds, while the strongest wind should be where that system is off the southeastern coast of the United States that the Hurricane Center is watching for a possible, chance of development. Not to mention where we have Gordon right there. All of those yellows and going up, all representing anywhere from 25 knots up. But as it relates to the winds that are expected across Jamaica for tomorrow, we can definitely see the flow coming in from the east for the most part. right there, both on the north and the south side of the island. And we can also see that the air is going to be piling up across sections of some central and western parishes again. We know the drill. These cumulus clouds are going to be coming, mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And then when they get to cumulonimbus cloud or upper-level cloud status, that's when the wind shear that still should be coming in from the northeast tomorrow should start to blow these high cold cloud tops off towards the southwest. Maybe bring some overcast skies, if not some lighter intersection of some southern parishes for sure. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall that's expected, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 10 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do both of them have in common? Some blues represent rainfall across eastern Jamaica. So maybe section of St. Thomas, Portland, maybe Kingston, St. Andrew might get in on some amount of rainfall. We see the blues right there. Not a strong signal, not some tremendous dark blues. But we see that there's consensus that there could be some rainfall. Even although the Euro is trying to incorporate portions of western Jamaica, GFS not as impressed with that forecast by the Euro. But as we head into the afternoon now, if you are going to get laundry done or if you're going to go out, try to get that business done early. If you're going to get laundry done, try to get it done from tonight so that when we get the morning sun, it dries it out, because this map is valid for 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And we see the blues and even the dark blues and greens and yellows in there that represent maybe some moderate to heavy rainfall across portion of the island. Even although the Euro is incorporating a lot of eastern Jamaica as well, GFS not incorporating that much of eastern Jamaica, not much eastern St. Thomas or Portland, but definitely maybe western St. Thomas, western Portland, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Mary, sections of St. Catherine, St. Anne, Clarendon, Manchester, Trelawney, sections of St. James, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland and Hanover for sure. We can't leave out Westmoreland and Hanover at all. We see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with the forecast at that time, so definitely some afternoon rainfall for sure. And we have to remember that we're in the peak of our thunderstorm season, so 'tis the season for a lot of afternoon thunderstorms. 'Tis the season for any time after 2 p.m. or even before that. You're hearing a lot of thunder out there, lots of lightning, dark clouds, and even some heavy rainfall. And the heavy rainfall is definitely expected, especially across maybe St. Elizabeth for sure. We can't rule out some freak storms, especially during September, so look out for that. And if we take a look here at the accumulated precipitation forecast from both the Euro and the GFS models, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 3Z on Sunday when calculated. That's all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus. Look at how colorful Jamaica is. You can see by the key on the right that the reds represent all the up to 1 inch of rainfall as we go down in the scale. The oranges, the yellows represents up to 0.5 of an inch of rainfall down to 0.3 of an inch of rainfall. The greens and so on all the way up to 0.2 down of an inch of rainfall. And we can definitely see that there's consensus for some amount of rainfall across the island tomorrow. The Euro a bit more robust, showing all the way up to 1.05, 1.17 across portion of the island. GFS close to 1 inch, 0.93 when you round it off, close to 1 inch for sure. Either way, we'll take it. Even although we don't want the damage, we don't want the flooding, we'll take the rainfall to cool down the temperatures. We can see Kingston's bar graph right here at the top, and we usually receive an increase in the amount of rainfall, especially across St. James right here. Well, Montego Bay in general. Montego Bay usually receives close to 7 inches of rainfall during the month of September. That's almost 175 millimeters of rainfall. Kingston usually receives close to 100 millimeters of rainfall. That's almost 4 inches of rainfall. And clearly we can see that the wettest month of the year is October, and we're getting there soon. So the more we head towards October, the wetter it's going to become. What we don't want is anything tremendous, any major rain event that causes flash flooding or severe damage, especially to these roads that are so weak. We know these potholes can be for sure. Either way, We want the rain to keep the water in our pipes, and we also want the rain to keep our temperatures down. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that you can visit weatherandclimate.com if you'd like to see what your specific parish receives in terms of rainfall throughout the year. And if you don't know how to do the calculations regarding rainfall in inches and millimeters, here's a nice graphic right here that calculates it for you. 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a tropical wave right here, somewhere across the Dominican Republic, another tropical wave to the east of the Caribbean. We can see that portion of northern South America, section of southwestern Central America did get in on some thunderstorms today as usual. And if we take a look at the northeastern Caribbean's Doppler radar imagery today, let us scroll all the way down close to Puerto Rico. Let us see what's happening now. Well, first of all, if we reload these images from earlier today, we definitely had some thunderstorms across portions of central and western Puerto Rico. Look at all of that heavy rainfall. The yellows, oranges, reds within those greens definitely got lashed today, especially across western Puerto Rico as all of that thunderstorm pushed out to the west of the island. You can also see some isolated showers right there to the east of the Dominican Republic, some of which is on land right now. Some isolated showers in and around the Leeward Islands, as well as to the west of the US and British Virgin Islands. Definitely some hit or miss showers expected tonight if it's not already happening. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can definitely see some isolated showers right there to the south and to the west of the island. Some of that rainfall passing to the north of St. Vincent as we speak. Some of that rainfall right there to the east of the Grenadine Islands, to the east of Grenada. And if we scroll down, we can see some of that rainfall to the east of Tobago. Some of this rainfall already affecting portion of Trinidad as we speak. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see some of that rainfall right there across portions of Florida, still associated with that frontal system. Some rainfall across sections of Cuba, sections of Honduras, sections of Guatemala as usual. Even portions of Colombia and the French Guiana as well as Suriname getting in on some amount of rainfall. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing where it's going to be raining from now up until 3 on Sunday when calculated. That's all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. And we can definitely see some rainfall in store for portions of Florida, the Bahamas, Jamaica, sections of Cuba, maybe even sections of the Cayman Islands, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, sections of Barbados, section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador getting in on the mix. And we see that even portions of southern Belize and portions of Guatemala getting in on some of the isolated shores as well. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.